I talk to folks a lot about is, hey, if I'm making a claim, does this go on like a report or, what happens? What does this mean? Am I going to lose my insurance, right? Like I have this issue. I had like, I don't know, a flood in my basement, or I had, hail claim or something, or hail damage to my roof. Should I make a claim, or is that going to be negative? And should I just pay for it out of pocket despite the fact that I have insurance? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Making a claim. So in Colorado or in insurance, we can pull them out from different states too. So when you go to get a quote from somebody, we can pull in your loss history. Loss history is pulled in from the person and the address. So we can pull in the home. If you're buying the house, we can pull in if it's had a loss in the last 5 years, we can see your loss history. And that does play a huge part in it, of you getting insurance and you keeping your insurance. So like with us currently, you cannot have more than one loss in 3 years. So if you have more than one loss in 3 years, you wouldn't be eligible. And then we just implemented last week that if you have a non-weather loss within the last 5 years, whether it's the home or the person, we will not write you. So it plays a big part of it, of getting insurance. And then if you do have multiple losses within a period of time, 3 to 5 years is typically, or sometimes 7 years, that will play in if they're going to renew you or not. So it's good if you have more than one claim, and especially if it's a non-weather claim, that shows insurance companies that you are a higher risk person. So you could definitely get non-renewed due to your loss history.
And kind of to piggyback on that, the reason why folks have insurance is because they want it to be there if they have a need. And that is our absolute belief as well. And so sometimes folks are like, should I file a claim or not? I'd always encourage you to reach out to your agent and have that conversation about, here's kind of the circumstances of the event. Do I feel like it would be something that would likely be covered? Also being mindful of your deductible. So if you have a $5,000 deductible, we're always going to recommend reach out to a contractor first and, make sure that, like, for example, with regards to potential hail damage, have a roofing contractor come out and take a look at the roof. Do they feel like there is indeed damage? If they do, then let's kind of consider what the cost to replace that roof is, and then what your deductible is. If you have some sort of circumstance that your deductible is $5,000 and the damage is $4,900, it doesn't make any sense to file a claim because you're not going to recoup any of that money from State Farm. And so more so making a decision, do I file a claim or do I not, is first gathering information and having all the information in order to make a good decision on the front end. And so, unfortunately, we saw lots of folks who had roofers who, would be knocking doors and saying, oh, you've got terrible damage, I can see it from here. And they'd file a claim, and then lo and behold, there was no evidence of hail damage whatsoever. And so, nothing was paid out. They now have a claim record on there with a zero payout. And so it's heartbreaking when, folks kind of fall victims to those kind of circumstances. And so our advice would always be gather the information first before you call to make the claim, because oftentimes there's no takebacks once you file that claim. If you find out later, oh, well, there really wasn't any damage, it was a shady, contractor who knocked on my door and they didn't tell the truth, there's no ability for us to take that off of the record. So in most instances, you have a time period at which you can file a claim for an event after a date of loss. And so having the ability to have all the additional information and all the facts together to make sure that we know, we have a good picture of what the cost is going to be, kind of what the details of the circumstance are, to kind of help navigate, do we want to move forward with that? But at the end of the day, that's why we have insurance, because you need it to be there for you to get you back to whole.
Sure. And, having a good network of contractors that are honest and trustworthy in the community is so important too. So reach out to your friends, your neighbors, you know, a realtor like myself, or someone that you've worked with in the past who has those relationships that can say, hey, contact this person, because they're going to give you an honest assessment, as opposed to that guy that's just going door to door, knocking and looking for business. So important.